Okay, welcome everybody. It's April 14th. We are about to have the Town of Loomis Town Council meeting. But before we go on, pursuant to Executive Order N2920, certain provisions of the Open Meeting Act are suspended due to a state of emergency in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Consistent with the executive order, the council meeting will include teleconferencing. Public comment procedure. In order to protect public health and the safety of our Loomis citizens, public comment for this meeting will be offered through YouTube channel. The council meeting at the depot will be closed to public attendance. Public comment will be opened for each agenda item. Be prepared to comment on the specific agenda item you wish to comment when the mayor announces the item. Please see the following for remote access to this meeting: https://channel/UCY800. Public comment may also be submitted via text message by texting your comment to 916-625-6428. Note that standard texting fees may apply. You can also email at cstrock@loomis.ca.gov. Now, call to order. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag, for which is
May we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Baker.
here.
Mayor Pro Tem Duncan.
Here.
Councilmember Morales. Councilmember Morales.
Councilmember Morales. Let's just move on.
Councilmember Underko.
Councilmember Underko, are you there? Do we just go on? Is that Councilmember Underko or is that Councilmember Morales?
That's me. My phone keeps disconnecting it for some reason tonight.
Okay. Councilmember Morales is here.
But I'm back in now.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Councilmember Underko.
Okay, well,
Mayor Clark Kretz.
here. All right, let's move on to matters of interest to council members. Councilmember Duncan, do you have anything you'd like to say?
No, not at this time. Thanks.
Councilmember Baker?
Nothing at this time.
Councilmember Morales?
No, nothing at this time.
And just checking on Councilmember Underko. I think he's there. I actually have something that I would like to discuss, and that is today the governor talked about slowly coming into a recovery phase, and they're starting to inch towards that. I feel it would be very, very important for us to set up a meeting with Dr. Amy Sisson over at the Placer County Health Officer, and if you wouldn't mind setting that up, Sean, I would appreciate it. And then secondly, the Placer Food Bank has 2 organizations in Loomis to help those who are food insecure. At the First United Methodist Church of Loomis, Monday through Friday from 9 to 1, they are going to have their food bank open. And then there's another location on King Road at the Calvary Christian Center Thursday at 1:30. So please check out the website before you go out there to the food bank, just to double check those dates and whatnot. And that's it for me. So let's do the town manager report.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Can you hear me? So I have kind of a lengthy report that I'm going to be going through today. And I kind of want to just read through all of this because there's so much going on with the COVID-19 stuff. And so that's really going to be the focus of the report tonight. So, obviously these are kind of uncharted times, but we want to assure staff and council, the community, and then our businesses as well that the town's still operating, albeit remotely, and we're working as hard as we can to address the needs of our community as quickly as we can, but with our small staff. So I'm going to kind of go through a couple different sections about where we're at town operations wise. So on town operations, we declared a state of local emergency on March 17th. That was ratified by the council on March 19th and then reaffirmed by the council on March 31st. So we're still under that town local emergency. The public counter at Town Hall remains closed to the public. This closure will remain in effect throughout the duration of the governor's and county health director's stay-at-home orders. Staff continues to work remotely, however, with some staff coming in on various days to complete work that can't be done remotely. We can maintain adequate social distancing protocols, which is 6 feet between staff members at Town Hall. So when we do have more than one person on at a time, we can do that. Building department is still operating, conducting inspections and issuing building permits. We switched over to an online plan check process through our building inspection contractor, Bureau Veritas. You can find information on how those inspections and plan checks are available through the building department page on the town website. And just for council and folks who are watching the live stream here, the town manager report will be posted up to the website tomorrow. So all of the stuff that I'm reading, you'll be able to see that. You don't have to take notes or anything. All of our town facilities remain closed to the public. That includes the train depot, which is the reason why we're doing the meeting through Zoom today and through the live stream on YouTube. The library remains closed, and the play structures at town parks are still closed. The parks are open, but if residents are going to those parks, they should be maintaining proper social distancing protocols when they're visiting them. Those closures will continue throughout the duration of the governor's and the health director's stay-at-home orders. Public Works crew continues to work while maintaining proper social distancing protocols, so we don't have more than one of our workers in a truck at a time, but they may be out on a job site. 2 of them at a time. They've got the proper PPE equipment, the personal protective equipment to be working. We're continuing to work on the 2020 and 2021 budget right now. And so we're obviously trying to analyze our revenues and what will be lost and what will be deferred based on the governor's executive order deferring some sales tax. At the last look that I talked to our finance director, Roger Carroll, about, we were looking at, I think, about 850,000 upside down. So not all of that is 100% loss. Some of it will be a deferral, but going into 2020-21, we're looking at about an $850,000 shortfall. We have adequate reserves to cover that, and we'll be bringing that budget back to council. The actual draft budget will be presented at next month's council meeting. We'll have a more firmer number on not only the revenue side, but on the expenditures as well. We've received a few comments and emails that Cricket's going to be reading in a little bit into the record after my report. Those comment emails included a draft resolution that commenters wanted council to consider. We're not going to be reading the resolution tonight because of its length, and it's not on the agenda to discuss, but I did want to address a couple of issues that were contained in that resolution. So one of them was the folks who've sent that in are recommending that the town immediately suspend all fines, fees, restitution collection attempts until the CDC has publicly stated that the pandemic has subsided, including parking and traffic tickets. But however, the town itself does not control parking or traffic citations. That's done by the Placer County Sheriff's Office. And then also, the town is not assessing fines or restitution collection attempts at this point on code enforcement issues unless it's an egregious offense that we need to continue to move forward. Let's see. The other one that they requested is that they're asking for a temporary moratorium on evictions until the state of California has publicly stated that the pandemic has subsided, and including residential and small business tenants. And so the governor has issued an executive order that prohibits eviction of residential tenants. He did not extend that to businesses. However, the Judicial Council of California last week announced that they would be suspending for 90 days past the rescission of the governor's order any eviction proceedings, which basically provides that gap for the business evictions as well. I just wanted to note quickly too that I'm very proud of how quickly our staff has been able to pivot and start working remotely. The town literally had no infrastructure in place for this prior to the governor's order, but we were able to make the switch within a week or so. And so to take our town operations, which had no capability for going remotely, to being almost 100% remotely within a week, I think it was pretty, we did a great job with that. So I just wanted to thank staff for that. On the communication effort side, we've created a new town Facebook page, and that's at Town of Loomis Government. That's specifically for town information. So that's being posted by me. I'm posting information on that, whether it's COVID-19 or sharing business information or whatever is going on. I strongly encourage folks to follow that page if you're on Facebook, so all the information is in one place and it's not being diluted by putting it onto other Facebook pages. What I do is I'll post it onto the town page and then I share it to the 4 Loomis pages. But as soon as somebody else posts something, that message that I posted gets dropped down and it continues to fall to the bottom. So if you want to find everything all in one spot, go to the town's new Facebook page. Since the page's inception on March 17th, we've reached nearly 2,600 people. The posts on the town page have reached nearly 2,600 people. People have engaged, which means they've liked it, commented, or shared it with posts nearly 1,100 times. And those numbers don't include the cross postings to the other groups. So the amount of engagement and the amount of sharing is exponential to what I just talked about. Posts that we've been including include stuff from Placer County, a video from our mayor, and then links to the town email updates, and I'm going to talk about that as well. So we also launched the town's new information email platform through MailChimp. That platform allows me to send out informational email campaigns, which are also archived, with the ability to go back and look at previous campaigns. I've been trying to send those out at least once a week, sometimes twice a week, and there were, I think, one week where I did 3. I don't want to inundate people's email addresses, but sending out the information that's really pertinent and important, obviously we want to get that out to you. We're also using that platform for emailing the council agendas now. So the issue that we had with folks not getting the agendas should be resolved. We imported 2,400 email addresses into that system. We still have just a little bit over 2,200. We had some folks drop off because they didn't want to get our emails anymore. But we've also picked up new subscribers as well. So in general, when I send out something COVID-19 related, we get about a 50% read rate, which is actually very high for something like that. And the agenda emails come in at about 25%. So I strongly encourage residents to sign up for those informational emails. You can do that on the town website homepage. So there's a box underneath when you first get onto the webpage that says you put your name in it, put your email address, and then you'll get those emails. They're being used for important information. I talked about the number of email addresses we have on there. And then the town's homepage, the website homepage, has a COVID-19 update button. that links to the latest COVID-19 email mailing. So if you didn't get the email mailing through MailChimp, you went to the town website to see what's going on with the COVID-19 information. If you click that button, it'll take you to the web version of that latest campaign mailing. We call it a campaign, but it's not like an election campaign. We've also added a non-hideable header to the website that provides basic information on town operations during the outbreak and steers folks to the Placer County COVID-19 website for the most up-to-date information on that. In terms of the county's response, I wanted to add a little bit about that. So Placer County Health Officer Dr. Amy Sisson issued a formal stay-at-home order on Friday, April 10th. The details of that order can be found at the Placer County webpage. The new order clarifies, strengthens, and extends the terms of the previous directive to reduce person-to-person contact and increase physical distancing in order to further slow the transmission of the virus. And it's in effect through May 1st. I sat in on a portion of the governor's phone call or press conference this morning, I think at noon, and he's been talking about restarting the economy through a series of different steps. I haven't had time to go through what that means, and so we'll be looking at that and how the town would be implementing that with the help of the county health department, because we rely on them to do that. We'll be looking to them for that help sometime soon. County also launched an interactive data portal for COVID-19 cases, and you can get that through the county's website as well. As of this morning, the number of positive COVID-19 cases in the county was 128 with 5 deaths, so we've got one additional death that was reported, I think, yesterday. The other thing that the county health officers recommended is that all Placer County residents wear a face covering when conducting essential business. Face covering is not meant to take the place of social distancing. That's important to continue to do. The recommendation comes after increasing evidence that the transmission of the virus can occur as early as 3 days before people develop symptoms. And so the face covering is meant to protect people that are around you, not so much to protect you from getting the virus itself. The main thing that I wanted to say on the town side is that it's critical for folks to follow the governor's order and the county health officer's order to continue to prevent the spread of the virus. I'm going to switch over and start talking about schools really quickly. So I received an email from Loomis Union School District Superintendent Gordon Med, and I'm going to kind of go through that really quickly. So the grammar schools began distance learning on March 15th, so all of their staff are working from home except custodial, maintenance, food service, and some district office staff. All the schools are closed. District office opens between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. To accept registrations and to hand out Chromebooks and hotspots. So they're doing Wi-Fi hotspots for folks to be able to get their kids online. The district is providing qualifying students and their families a breakfast and lunch with some additional items for dinner and snacks throughout the district's food service department. They're serving out of all school sites except during spring break, which is when they served out of the Loomis Grammar School itself. Due to the generosity of Cisco Foods, they were able to serve students and their families significantly more food each day, and they were able to serve during spring break, which was April 4th through 13th. They continue online instruction tomorrow, starting April 14th. It's actually today. And they'll continue distance learning until the end of the current school year in June. Staff has been amazing and has focused on supporting the students and their families. Teachers, principals, counselors, psychologists are monitoring and supporting many families who are struggling during this time. He wanted to say that the parents have been incredibly flexible and they're doing a fabulous job at home with their children, doubling as parent and teacher at the same time. And they've got a state-approved child care program at Loomis Grammar that is providing child care primarily to first responders and essential workers. So that's on the grammar school side. We have Chelsea Nauman, who is the principal at Del Oro. She's on the call. Chelsea, if you could just give us a kind of short update on what's going on with Del Oro, I'd appreciate that.
Sure, no problem. We're very similar to Loomis Grammar in terms of providing nutritional services each day. We don't have as many students, I don't believe, as the grammar schools do, just due to our location. So it seems like a lot of students are going more to the grammar schools for that, which is just fine. But we're offering nutritional services daily as well. In terms of distance learning, we started at the same time and we'll be continuing through the remainder of this year. The unfortunate thing for us is a lot of the activities that we've had to cancel in terms of our seniors. So what we're attempting to do is figure out what we're going to do with graduation. Right now we have a survey out to our students, our seniors, to determine what they would like to do with graduation. And right now it's looking like they'd like to postpone it, where we can have an actual graduation on the DO campus. That's not for sure going to be the case. We're going to do something district-wide, which could be us, Placer High School, Colfax High School, and Forest Hill High School. So we're waiting to determine what we're going to do with graduation this year. Likewise, nothing but positives from our parents, our staff, community. Everyone has just been fantastic and patient and flexible as we're piloting this distance learning, so to speak. We're figuring out what we're doing with our grading practices and policies through the remainder of this year, as we want to ensure the continuity of learning and make sure that our kids are set up, whether they're graduating from DO or they're going to enter the next grade level. And you know, it's just been a big learning curve for everyone. But the support that we've has just been phenomenal. I have nothing but positive things to say, and can't thank you all enough for your continued support as well. And especially if you have kids at DO, we're truly grateful for just how wonderful everyone has been throughout all of this. So thank you all.
Thank you, Chelsea. I wanted to run through really quickly the business response as well, and then after my report and after I respond to some of the public comments that we've received on the YouTube feed, we'll turn it over to Jenny Knisley from the Chamber of Commerce to give her report. But just quickly, Mayor Jan Clark-Kretz established an emergency business task force early on during the outbreak to address and assist our local businesses. So that task force has been meeting weekly and has created a new business campaign called We Love Loomis. So if you go on Facebook, you'll see that. There's also a sign that's been set up over by at the entrance sign over by Burger King on Horseshoe Bar. And I said Jenny will be providing an update later on. I also have Placer County Sheriff's Office Loomis Substation Lieutenant Brian Silva, who's called in to the call, and so I'd like to ask him to just kind of give a real quick update on the law enforcement side and anything that they're seeing. If you could do that, Brian, are you there?
Yes, I am. Good evening, everyone. Lieutenant Brian Silva here from the Sheriff's Office. Just kind of a quick breakdown from the Sheriff's Office perspective from a state level. On April 6th, the State Judicial Council approved the emergency bail schedule regarding the COVID-19 epidemic. That took effect yesterday, April 13th at 5 p.m. What this means is all bails for misdemeanors and felonies must be set at $0, with some exceptions to that. This impacts all new and fresh arrests, as well as persons who are arrested and being held in pretrial custody. The courts worked late last night to review all these cases, and of this morning, 21 persons were released from custody due to this order that otherwise would have been remained in custody. On a county level, the Emergency Operations Center, or the EOC, was opened up almost immediately and still remains open. The Sheriff's Office has 2 sergeants and 1 lieutenant that have been assigned to the EOC every day working with HHS. County has created a COVID-19 dashboard, and that can be viewed at www.placer.ca.gov/coronavirus/cases, which will give you all the most up-to-date information on the cases, and it breaks it down by South, Mid, and East Placer counties. Effective April 10th, Dr. Sisson's order made it an actual order, which is punishable by a citation, fine, or incarceration. The sheriff's stance is still and continues to be education rather than enforcement, with the understanding that in the most egregious cases, we may take some enforcement action. All of our school resource officers have been reassigned back to patrol. Obviously, this is because the schools are being closed, and to assist with staffing levels in the event that COVID-19 were to impact our patrol staff. You may see some of our patrol deputies wearing masks when out in public. Unless it involves a situation where a mask might compromise their safety in a tactical situation, they should be donning a mask when they're out in public. Also, our dispatch center may ask a series of medical questions. If you call 911, after obtaining the emergency information, they may ask a series of medical questions that pertain if anybody is ill or sick in the home, so our deputies can take the proper precautions before responding. In closing, I just want to stay steadfast that for the people of Placer County and the Township of Loomis, that we are here to serve them, even in this most trying of times. And I couldn't be prouder of the men and women who work at the Placer County Sheriff's Office.
It's an interesting time to start as the lieutenant of the substation here, too. The last thing I wanted to just note quickly is, I think Brian just said that, but these are really uncharted times. But we have faith that our small towns will be able to get through this together as a big family. I've seen a lot of stuff on Facebook. People are being very supportive of each other and helping as much as they can. And so, that's the idea of working in a small town. That's what we look for here. So, with that, I'll turn it over to questions by council, and then once we get through the council questions, I'll go through the questions I've received so far on the YouTube page. So, I can answer questions if council has any.
Councilmember Duncan, do you have any questions?
No, none at this time. Just one question of Lieutenant Silva. These are all the bail cases, the inmates released from jail. These are no violence or no domestic violence. They're not allowed to be released, right?
Yeah, there are 13 exceptions to the zero bail amount, and domestic violence and violent crimes in general are some of those exceptions. So those folks will not be released.
All right, thank you, Lieutenant Seville.
You're welcome.
Councilmember Baker, any questions?
None at this time.
Councilmember Morales.
No, I have no questions, but I'm having a hard time hearing Sean. Can he maybe speak closer to the microphone? I don't know if it's just my phone or what, but I'm missing some of the words sometimes, I think.
Okay, thank you. I actually have something for Principal Newman, and I just wanted to reiterate to the seniors of the class of 2020, if there's anything that your community can do for you to help you with this wonderful celebration under these very strange times, please call on us. We want to help you celebrate. So if you could pass that on, and also let us know whatever we can do to help those seniors.
Is Councilmember Onderko, are you on the phone, Tim?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, no comments, just thank you for the reports from everybody, and keep your head up. We're going to get through this, okay?
Okay, so on the YouTube feed, I'll read through these comments that we've received and answer them as we go through. So first one from Sonia Coupler, public comment question: what is the current status of the town budget, and is there any cuts or reductions being made? So at this point, I talked about this a little bit earlier, but at this point, we're anticipating about an $850,000 shortfall for next year. The current year, I think that we should end up. I think right where we thought we would be. There will be a little bit of delay, and there will probably be an impact, but we won't really know that at this point. Next year's budget, we'll be bringing that back in next month, and then that'll include, proposals on how to address that shortfall. Second question from Sonia Coupler: what is the status of the general plan update? General plan update is still ongoing. The background work is being done by consultants and by staff remotely. We are in no position at all to be taking any kind of specific action on the general plan. We're a long way from that, and we initially had anticipated having some sort of a town hall meeting back in March, but that obviously got scrapped, and so everything has been, in terms of the public meetings, has been shifted to at least probably June at this point. The background studies that need to be done, those can be done without, they've just been ongoing as it is. So everything, because of this pandemic and because of the crisis, has been shifted time-wise, so including general plan update. Fourth question from Sonia Coupler: what's the status of the demo of the old gun shop? And a question from Pam Blake saying, I would also like to know the status of the old gun shop. The gun shop had a 60-day spread between when they were supposed to be closing escrow with a new buyer from the lender who took the property back. I haven't heard anything. That was up on April 6th, and on April 7th I gave direction to our code enforcement people and the town attorney to move forward with whatever we need to do to get the building demolished. Question from Pam Blake: Rayleigh is charging for bags even though we can't bring in our reusable bags. Tried calling main office. The wait was over 45 minutes. Is there anything you can do to address this? Others don't. I don't think so, but I can send an email to the Rayleigh manager and see if they can stop doing that. And then another question from Sonia Coupler: will the FEIR for the Costco project still be coming out on Monday? No, everything in terms of Costco has been delayed, partially because of the pandemic issue, and then also because of just timing and trying to respond to comments in the draft environmental impact report. I don't have a schedule for that off the top of my head. I don't know off the top of my head when it will be released. We had talked about April 21st as a, hopefully it would be released at that point, but obviously we're not there yet. That's all that I got from YouTube, although it is about 30 seconds delayed, so we'll give it a couple more minutes. Cricket did receive a couple of emails that we'll read through, that she'll read into the record as comments as well.
All right, I received 2 emails. The first one was from, let me see, I'm sorry, Ann Martin Bowler, and she, it was regarding the COVID-19 crisis. And so I'm going to read what she has to say. Dear Loomis Town Council members, my name is Ann Bowler. My family and I own and operate the Flower Farm in Loomis. COVID-19 has already dramatically changed lives here in Placer County, but my real concern is what lies ahead. Will our county still have just 200 homeless in 6 months, or will there be thousands? How many will lose their homes, and how many businesses will be closed a year from now? Thank you for your efforts in response to the COVID-19 crisis. The Loomis Chamber, Mayor Jan, and others have already done so much to support local businesses. I can tell you your work has been greatly appreciated. It demonstrates that your council is looking out for the good of your community. I support the attached list of recommended actions that an ad hoc group of citizens created. If enacted, these actions would lessen the negative impact that COVID-19 will have on our region. It is important to point out that our ad hoc group understands that many of the recommended actions are beyond the scope of city activities. However, here are a few important steps Rockland's leaders can take. They are, do you want me to read that? Push the county to create a COVID-19 task force, which would coordinate efforts between the county, all cities, and the unincorporated areas of Placer County. A more coordinated effort would ensure fewer duplications or gaps of important services. Be transparent. The COVID-19 pandemic was not on tonight's Loomis Town Council agenda. I am certain you are having conversations on the topic behind closed doors, but with the seriousness of this pandemic, public discussion on Loomis plans would have many benefits, including relieving citizens' anxiety, educating people on ways to stay safe, and helping your businesses to stay viable. Be active on all forms of social media so your important messages reach as many citizens as possible. Include local community members and business leaders in problem-solving discussions to ensure Loomis is providing appropriate services to your residents and businesses. Loomis is shining in this area. Share resources that Loomis is offering its citizens with the other leaders in the region. Speak up. This is an unprecedented challenge we are facing. It is vital that towns like Loomis let the county, state, and federal government officials know the challenges your citizens are facing and what they need. Protect frontline workers. Do everything you can to protect our healthcare workers and all people working with the public in the city of Loomis. Encourage your citizens to follow the current state COVID-19 orders. Follow them yourselves. Work to reduce city fees so that people are not evicted or lose their businesses. Curtail approval of any new developments during COVID-19 as citizens are not able to give input in any reasonable way until this crisis is over. The focus should remain on the health and well-being of all your citizens. Again, thank you for considering our suggestions and for your ongoing efforts on behalf of the citizens of the Loomis Basin. Annie Bowler. And then she has that attachment, which I'll put online tomorrow, that she did. And another one came in from Emily Ann Ward. My name is Emily Ann Ward. I am a Placer County resident who is concerned about how COVID is affecting all of us across the region. I'm a part of a group that is organizing around community recommendations from all Placer County residents, including those that live in Loomis. Our group realizes that much of what we are asking is beyond the reach of your city's government. We are including in this discussion for the following reasons. To encourage meaningful discussion at the city level about ways Loomis can be sure your city is providing as much support to as many people and businesses as possible. To encourage sharing what Loomis is offering its citizens during the COVID-19 crisis with the other cities and towns in the region. And last, to encourage your city to push the county, state, and federal government to offer larger scale programs and support to your citizens and businesses, especially in the areas that are beyond the scope of your city's government. Our group would love to be able to submit our list of recommendations to Loomis City Council for discussion at tonight's meeting. Unfortunately, they can't. Attaches the list of recommendations, and I will put that online. It'll be there tomorrow. Thank you for your consideration. Emily Ann Ward. That's it.
So we don't have anything else coming in from the live feed. So, and we haven't received any text messages through the text message number either. So I think that we're caught up on the public comment side for that.
Okay. Do you want to hear from Jenny?
Yeah, so next on that would be the next on the agenda.
All right. Let's hear from Jenny Nisley, Loomis Chamber of Commerce update. You there, Jenny?
I'm here. You got it?
Oh, hi, yeah.
Oh, okay. Good evening, Mayor and council members. I might echo some of the same things that Sean said, but I'll try to be short and sweet. It's not business as usual, but there is still business out there happening, and we're doing what we can to learn all the new applications and Zoom meetings and in any way we can communicate with our businesses and the community. So some updates: the state of the town has been canceled. That was scheduled for tomorrow. I'd say postponed, and we're going to try to have it at a later date and maybe even a virtual event. We had a virtual business connection at the beginning of the month, and we're going to have a virtual mixer on Thursday night to stay in touch with our business members. The chamber office is closed, and I'm working mostly from home. We plan on, there won't be any May Family Fest in May, but we'll look for June and see if that's possible. And the spring cleanup has been canceled. So in regards to the task force that you heard about, we created a page on our LoomisChamber.com that has emergency business resources and a rapid response button that will, if someone clicks on that, it will come directly to the mayor and to myself so that we can get back to them right away. We also created a takeout food, beer, wine service page. And we've been meeting in a subcommittee with all of our restaurant owners. Actually, today we found out that it looks like Red's might be opening up next week with a takeout. So that's good news.
Yeah.
We're connecting with our with Sacramento Metro Chambers United page, so our resources will be on there, and then they're sharing ours, and we'll share theirs. And we're talking with our local representatives and partners, and sharing resources that way. And we hope that we might even have a virtual town hall for the community. So we're working on that. Members of the task force are calling all of our businesses in town, finding out what their needs are and how what they might need in the future. We're getting updates from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and we're working on a return to work plan, looking at the issues that might need to be resolved to have a successful return to work once it's safe to do so. And then when we created the We Love Loomis campaign, we have the large signs that are on the corner of King and Taylor, and then one on the welcome sign across from the chamber. And each individual restaurant that's open has gotten a 18 by 24 inch sign to place outside their business. There's a Facebook page, We Love Loomis, and we're working on an Instagram page. And we have printable PDFs that we hope that the community and the businesses will print out and hang in their windows and storefronts to show support for each other. We're working with the community leaders and possibly our leadership class to find ways to band together on the social media. So again, I'm repeating myself, but we want to show support and our love for Loomis. And we're looking at doing a delivery day for our local senior center. The senior center is closed, and some of those seniors get their hot meal from there, so we're going to try to schedule that with our restaurants and our community to get those two together. And we're promoting purchase of gift cards for all of our businesses, including the professional service businesses. And I guess I'll just leave with, if any of the community members or business members out there need something, get a hold of us, and if we don't have the answer, we'll find somebody that does. So thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. Does anybody have any questions for Jenny?
No question.
Councilmember Baker does.
Go ahead.
The cleanup day, can that be rescheduled, or is that just something that we're going to cancel indefinitely? That's one that I've been getting a lot of comments on.
Yeah, we got calls at the chamber, and I talked to Sean, and Sean's working with Public Works to reschedule or figure a different, to reschedule.
Cricket has something that she
Sorry,
wants to say.
it's up to Del Oro. I've talked with them because we have to get that first before we can schedule everything else, and they're not looking at anything until after June.
Yeah,
Into June.
I think one of the things that we would be looking at is talking with Recology for an alternative site or an alternative method, and when that would actually happen, we have no idea yet. So, but Britt is going to follow up with the Recology to see if we can get that figured out.
Yeah, that's going to be important because everybody is cleaning everything right now, and they have a lot of things they need to throw out. So it's a really good point, Councilmember Baker. We definitely need to get that rescheduled. Anybody else have any questions for Jenny? All right. So we need to open it up for public comment, right? I mean...
Yeah.
Public comment for items not on the agenda. This time is reserved for those who wish to address the town council on subjects that are not on the agenda. So we will look and see if we have any, and might be a little time lapse here.
So there's a new comment on the live stream from Mark D. Says, FYI, the planter boxes in front of the old gun store, don't hide it, just so you know. I agree. There's a 30-second delay between the live stream, about 30 seconds between the live stream and when we're actually speaking, so we'll wait for a couple more seconds here to... So it doesn't look like we got anything else.
Okay, we'll be moving on. Let's move to adoption of the agenda. Do we have,
Motion to approve,
is that,
adopt the agenda.
who was that down, Councilmember Underko?
Yes.
And the second was Councilmember Baker? Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All in favor? Oh,
You
nope.
do
Do
a
we have to do roll call?
Aye.
Sorry, we have to do roll call.
Councilmember Onderko,
Aye.
Councilmember Baker,
Aye.
Councilmember Morales,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Duncan,
Mayor Pro Tem Duncan.
Mayor Clark Kretz.
Aye. Motion passes. Now the opportunity to comment on our consent calendar. All items listed under the consent agenda are considered by the council to be routine in nature and will be enacted by one motion unless an audience member requests otherwise. Do we have any comments regarding our consent calendar? Again, we're waiting to see if there's anything popping up.
I don't see anything popping up.
All right. So let's move
I'll
on.
move approval of items 1 through 10 on the consent agenda.
Underko,
Aye. Duncan?
Okay.
Oh, wait a second. Was it Underko said it first? He
I
was
think-
second? Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Roll call.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Morales,
Aye.
Councilmember Onderko,
Aye.
Councilmember Baker,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Duncan,
Aye.
Mayor Clark Kretz.
Aye. All right. That passes. So let's move forward with items of business. And we will be discussing South Placer District Transportation Sales Tax.
I am.
Mike.
I am here. Oh, okay. So I'm Britt Snipes, Public Works Director. I'll be presenting this item. We have Mike Lucan, PCTPA on the phone if any questions come up. But just real quickly, I'd like to just kind of go through an update. The PCTPA is looking at continuing the sales tax district without Loomis included in it. However, they have asked us to comment or approve the expenditure plan that will be attached to that sales tax district. So the item that we have in front of us tonight is the expenditure plan for the sales tax district. And in it, the staff report describes everything. I won't read it to you. I think that'll put everybody to sleep if they're still awake through this. But this just describes the reason that a sales tax district is needed to account for the congestion and the infrastructure needed to take us into the years in the future. One of the points that I'd like to make in this is that PCTPA has been working with the other jurisdictions of Roseville, Rockland, and Lincoln, and they're looking at an option of sharing some of their local transportation funds, the LTF funds. They're looking to share a portion of that. They've estimated about $750,000 go to Colfax, Auburn, and Loomis. So even though we will not be collecting the sales tax in Loomis, and we will not be sharing in any of the revenue generated by the sales tax district, and we do not have a seat on the board saying how these funds are going to be expended over time. We're not going to be included in the sales tax district, but we may see a benefit if this shift of LTF funds comes to Loomis, Colfax, and Auburn, actually.
Britt, can I stop you for a second? Can you sit on the edge over here, because the way that the phone is set up, people on the Zoom call can't hear you.
Oh.
So I think that just sit at that last one and kind of speak towards the phone itself. It'll catch it a little bit better. Make sure it's speaking to the mic.
Is this better? Yeah. Well, that just in time for me to end my presentation. But what is in front of council tonight is to vote on if we approve the sales tax district expenditure plan. I can let Mike expand on it if he feels that I missed anything. Yeah. So Mike, are you there?
Yeah, no, I think Britt described it well. A major portion of this, about half of the funding goes to major infrastructure on our freeways and highways. There's a set aside for bike ped, alternative modes, also for transit, and for a program to assist in the roadways for Lincoln, Rock, and Roseville. As Britt described tonight, one of the rules, one of the things that the state requires is that we go to all jurisdictions within the county to essentially bless our expenditure plan. And I think the thinking behind that is really that the county operates as a transportation system. And so although Loomis may be not in the proposed sales tax district, it is greatly impacted by those roadway improvements. And so that's why jurisdictions like Loomis and Auburn and Colfax, the state makes us, and then we would gladly do so because we historically has acted as one county in terms of our transportation. That's why we're coming to you at this point is to get your blessing on that expenditure plan. The actual placing the matter on the ballot is entirely within the purview of the PCTPA board. And so our board has taken, essentially due to the COVID-19 crisis, a methodical, slow approach with multiple check-in points to move forward. And so they've asked us to go to to the towns and the cities and the Board of Supervisors for approval of this expenditure plan. We'll then have a check-in point at the April meeting. We then move to the May meeting. We have another check-in point when we have the second reading of the ordinance. And then if conditions warrant at that time, then we'll do an additional polling to determine if there is sufficient support to move forward. But it's a very methodical, calculated pathway, given everything that's going on right now. And I would say we are not in any position to decide whether to put this matter on the ballot. That'll have to happen over the next 3 PCTPA board meetings, and only if all of the results of those meetings is positive will we move forward in November 2020.
Okay, thank you.
I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
All right. Any council members have any questions for Mike? Councilmember Duncan?
I don't have any questions. Thank you. Thanks, Mike.
Councilmember Underko? Councilmember Underko?
Yeah, yep.
Do you have any questions?
Yes, I do. Hey, Mike, thanks for the report.
You're welcome.
I know there's been a lot of talk at the federal level about a transportation bill. I'd just be curious to see how that would impact the decision by the board to move this forward or not. Would that play any role? Is it too early to say?
Well, it's kind of too early to say, but these, I have to caveat this by saying, these are very unfortunate times, and the need for a stimulus through our infrastructure plan, is needed, but at the same time, you wish it wasn't needed. But these are the times where we were to have a sales tax measure in place, it's likely we would be able to leverage those dollars to achieve, greater chance at getting federal dollars. So whether it be this infrastructure stimulus or 2 years from now when they have another transportation authorization, we need to be in position as a South Placer district to be able to take advantage of those. So certainly we're monitoring the federal, whether or not we're going to have a federal stimulus bill for infrastructure. And if so, we don't know at this point if there'll be matching fund requirements or not. In ARA in 2008 and 2009, they did not require a matching funds, but the Trump administration has a different view of matching funds. They like to put the last dollar in a project. And so that it may be very advantageous for us to have a sales tax measure to be able to leverage more federal dollars.
Thank you, Mike. That's it for me, Mayor Jan.
Councilmember Baker, do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Councilmember Morales?
Not at this time.
Okay, and thank you, Mike, very much for the presentation. So the recommended action...
We need to open up public comment.
Open it up for public comment. Thank you.
So I did have one on the live feed from Sonia Coupler. She's asking, what are LTF funds? Britt, can you answer that, please?
They're essentially road funds that we come through the state. They go through the county. We get a fair share allotment that's based on our population and road miles. Everybody gets a certain percentage of those. Currently, our LTF funds are about $150,000. So this estimate, and I urge everybody to not hold anybody to these numbers, but the estimate would be about another $191,000 of these LTF funds. And they're basically given up by Rockland, Lincoln, and Roseville to they're just giving us some of their funds out of that, or they're offering to.
And it stands for, LTF stands for?
Local Transportation Funds.
Thanks. I don't see anything else that's come in yet. You might want to wait a few more seconds, though.
I have 2 emails if you want me to do that.
Oh.
Okay. I received an email, let me see, this is the first one, on Friday from Roger Smith. And this is what he says: on April 14th, I hope the town will not approve the expenditure plan being proposed for the use of a possible new sales tax for South Placer County. Although there are positive elements in the plan that may help relieve current short-term traffic congestion in the region, there are 2 big sprawling, inducing construction projects: a new Placer Parkway and a Baseline Road widening. That would have major long-term impacts of increasing regional traffic and future congestion. These 2 major projects would fuel development and sprawl on a grand scale. With these 2 projects in the plan, we are being forced to take the bad with the good. The sales tax dollars going to these 2 big developer-friendly projects could be better used by local agencies, including Loomis, for their local transportation improvements. Please oppose the proposed expenditure plan as long as it contains funding for these 2 projects. Thank you, Roger Smith. And then I received one from Michael Garabedian. Let me see what he says. I got this yesterday. To Loomis and Council, please hand this policy brief out to the Council for item 11. I expect a comment on the item, including some discussion of this. And I will put this online also. It's quite lengthy. Tomorrow on what it is: increasing highway capacity unlikely to relieve traffic congestion. It's from the National Center for Sustainable Transportation. But I will put that online tomorrow so everybody can read it, because it's a couple of pages.
Okay.
Right?
Any more public comment?
Another question from Sonia Coupler: what happens if Loomis does not approve the expenditure plan?
We would just be counted as a no vote when it goes in front of PCTPA, and
I think that looks like all that we've received. It doesn't look like we're receiving anything else through the live feed.
Okay. So at this point, we will have this resolution. Do I hear a motion?
Motion by Underco.
Second.
Okay, let's do a roll call, please.
Councilmember Onderko?
Aye.
Councilmember Morales?
Aye.
Councilmember Baker?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Duncan?
Aye.
And Mayor Clark Kretz.
Aye. It's unanimous yes. We'll move now on to council committee reports.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank
Thank
you. Does anybody have any reports? Councilmember Duncan?
Have nothing to report at this time.
Councilmember Baker?
Nothing at this time.
Councilmember Underko?
Nothing at this time.
Councilmember Morales?
Nothing at this time.
Okay, and I do not have anything to report either. So with that said, we will go ahead and adjourn our meeting at 8:06. Be safe and healthy. Thank you.